not to slight anybody, but to a lot of people, probably, Marilyn McCoo and Billy Davis Jr. were the faces of the Fifth Dimension for a lot of years. And I don't know, maybe a lot of them assumed that those two were the ones that formed the group, but it was actually you and Marilyn that started getting people together in the early 60s for, what would eventually become the Fifth Dimension.
No, I started the group. I brought Marilyn in.
All right. I stand corrected then. I thought maybe you two got together and then it kind of went from there.
No, we were in the Hi-Fi, the jazz group, together. And I told the group I was going to stay with the group. I said, man, I had a dream, clear as day, because we were singing jazz and we recorded an album and we sold 5 copies. Each one of us bought one. Jazz ain't selling bad, so I saw this vision, man. Just we could still sing good music, but at least put a little more danceable beat to it. So Harry, who was in the Friends of the Singers, said, man, you know, everybody else said you're a rock and roller. We want to keep singing jazz. So okay, so I'm gonna leave. But then Marilyn said, if you leave, I'm leaving with you. So then I found Florence in the same beauty pageant that I found Marilyn in. She won the talent part, and then the 2 guys from St. Louis came out, and I said, well, hey, you guys want to start a group? I got 2 girls, and so I asked the girls if they want to join the guys, and the rest is history.
Okay, all right. Well, now I'm getting some of my information from Wikipedia, and they're kind of notorious for not being entirely
correct.
Accurate. Yes, and you mentioned the hi-fis and that you sang jazz, but according to Wikipedia, there were some internal differences. You said that you left the group, and this made it sound like that Harry had left the group and went on to form the Friends of Distinction.
No, Harry stayed with the jazz group, and then they eventually just broke up. And so after I started the Fifth Dimension and all for years, I'd say, Harry, look here, you guys can get Floyd and a couple of more people like to sing and start a group, because, man, you see the kind of music, they were doubting the kind of music that we were doing. I said, you see that it's successful. So we started the Friends of Distinction with Floyd Butler and a couple of other girls. All right.
Now, who were your musical influences?
Everybody.
Okay.
I mean, everybody, man. All the old groups, the Clovers, and the Dells, and that's what we grew up with.
Okay. Kind of the doo-wop stuff, or?
Right.
Okay. All right. And, I understand where you hooked up with Ray Charles and toured with him early on.
Eventually, before the Fifth Dimension, as the Hi-Fis, Ray Charles, I knew Ray Charles. I was shooting pictures of him. We were friends, and I told him that I had a group, and I said, yeah, come and see the group, Ray. So, yeah, okay, I'll come. So he came to Larry Summers, who was in the group, his house, and he came in and said, yeah, okay, now I heard a lot about you guys, and I want you to gas me now. So he sat down in the chair, and they gave him a book to hold. They just gave him something to put in his hands. And we were getting ready to sing, and the book was upside down. We were getting ready to laugh. Then he turned the book around. Wait a minute. So we sang a couple of songs. He said, man, look here, just get it together. And we signed up, and our manager even opened for him. So that's how that happened.
Oh, okay. We mentioned that you've got to go out and find replacements for group members that are not with you anymore. And you find Florence LaRue, Ron Townsend, he's an old friend of yours, and along with Billy Davis Jr., another old buddy.
Right. Well, a girl named Fritz Basket was in the Hi-Fis, and when we formed a new group called the Versatiles and all, and some guy that she was dating didn't want her to go on the road no more, so she said she wasn't going to travel with us. So I found Florence.
Okay.
In the beauty pageant, so she came and joined us. And we were called the Versatiles then, man. So. And that was after Ray Charles.
Okay. And I was wondering what happened to her because not anything was said. I thought, well, maybe she just left along with Harry and, did her own thing. But it was...
Yeah, she came after Harry.
It was the old boyfriend thing then.
Yep.
So, okay.
No, Florence came in after, and she was one of the nuclear... Fritz trained her, who was in the Friends of Distinction. And her boyfriend didn't want her to sing.
Okay.
Even so, I got Florence, and Fritzy helped train Florence. Well, actually, Fritz was probably the original Fifth Dimension, but she was never in any pictures or anything. She just came to help Florence, so she never was officially.
Okay. All right.
So Florence came in, and Florence still has a group to this day. I had major back surgery. The only reason that I left, and I found a guy to replace me till I got well. And shoot, look here, I enjoy retirement. The guy's so good, they probably wouldn't want me back anyway.
Well, I was going to get to the part where you finally got out of things in just a minute. Now, I read that whenever you approached Billy to join the group, he agreed to join, but he was actually hoping for a solo contract.
So was everybody. I'm the only one that wasn't a singer. But I saw all the Marilyn and Florence and Ron and Billy had all this talent. They were just walking around in limbo, basically. And I was a Motown photographer on the West Coast. And so I knew Barry Gordon and Mark Gordon, who was our manager. He was the manager of Motown on the West Coast when they moved out there. So, and I told him, I said, hey, I got a singing group. So, and I think he had a little crush on Florence. So anyway, when we first got together, they said, well, we don't really want to be in a group. Everybody wanted to be individuals. I said, well, I work with Motown, so I know when they're having auditions and all, we can just sing together, have fun and stuff. And they have auditions, I can let you guys know first, So, okay. So we just sing together until that happens. And then one day Flora said, well, if this is supposed to be, it's supposed to be no singing group, well, why are you buying uniforms? I said, well, I got a job at a club down the street, a friend of mine. We can go down there and sing. And said, that'd be fun. So, okay, yeah, we do that. So we went down and sang at this club one night and happened to be two agents in the audience. They said, oh, man, they came to see somebody else. And they said, no, this is what we were like. So and the rest is history there. They signed us, and we didn't have to go through all the chilling circuit and all that stuff. And then Johnny Rivers said, hey, man, you call the Versatiles, but that's such a old out-of-date name, so with the Beatles and Rolling Stones and all that, so can you all come up with another name beside the Versatile? So we all chose names and threw it in a hat, and Ron Townsend and his wife came up with the Third Dimension. And our manager said, well, since there's five of you, why don't you say Fifth Dimension? And that's how that came about. Okay.
All right. I was going to ask you how the name change came about, but
right.
That's one of those fun stories. So now you auditioned for Mark Gordon in the beginning there.
No, we were a singing group, man. He just kept following Florence more or less, and then he was in management. He said, well, look here, I'd like to manage you guys too, so he took over.
Okay, because I'd read where you auditioned for him, but he passed on you, but he decided to manage you anyway. And that's one of those Wikipedia things again. So
no, he never passed on us.
Okay. I mean, as far as Motown went,
right? He was with Motown, but we weren't. And then at the irony of it, he said, man, look here, he worked for Motown. He said, I'm gonna try to get you all on Motown. We said, hey, well, great. So he said, well, I'm going to get you a couple of old songs from Motown, a couple of Smokey songs, and I want you all to go in the studio and do it. And we'll take it to Barry Gordy and let him hear what you all can do. So that's what we did. And they said, Barry's in Detroit. So we all chipped in our little money, and they sent me to Detroit because I knew Barry from being a photographer for Motown, which I shot Stevie Wonder's first album covers, Supreme Temptations. So it's another story there behind the photography.
Yeah.
But when I went to Detroit, I had 3 days, and I met Barry. So I'm really busy right now, so I'll check with you tomorrow. And the next day, he said, man, I still can't get away. I said, okay. The next day, same thing. I said, Barry, I only got money. I can only stay 3 days. So I got it. He said, man, I'm sorry. But so the next day, I went and sat on Motown steps, 6 o'clock in the morning. And when he came to work, he said, oh, man, you guys are persistent. He said, well, come on in right quick. Let me hear what you got. I went in and I played the song. He said, oh, God, you guys sound great, but I don't hear no hits. So just go back and record something else. And, I said, oh, God, they're going to be disappointed. So I went back and told the group, and everybody's jaws hung down, kind of disappointed. And Johnny Rivers, who was with Mark Gordon, forming Liberty or some, I forgot the name of the record company. But he said, well, if you all don't go behind Motown, I'm starting this label and you be first on my label, so you won't be lost behind the Temptations, the Praise and stuff. So that's what we did. And then when eventually, since we didn't go with Motown and we got Up and Away as a hit, really started the group, I ran into Barry Gordy and he said, hey, man, congratulations, but let me ask you a question. Is that Up and Away, was that one of the songs that you brought to me to hear? And it wasn't, but I told him, yeah, that was one of them. And you mean I missed that? And to this day, I never told him different.
Well, and I was going to ask you...
Lost the fifth.
I was going to ask you if what songs were the ones that you brought him? Were they some that somebody else had already had a hit for him, or maybe
they were
some
old Smokey songs that he had in his repertoire, but they weren't really hits for him, But he just pulled them out and gave them to us to see what we could do with them.
Okay, all right. Well, I thought, well, maybe somebody else had a hit, or maybe somebody's had a hit with them since. So.
Not that I don't even know what we did. I don't even remember the name, nothing. We just dropped it in the trash can because we were so disappointed.
Well, now, you mentioned Florence and kind of had a thing for Mark. They actually got married there for a while.
They got married, and Marilyn and Billy got married, and Ron and Bobette was married. I was the only single one in the group, so everybody assumed I was gay, but okay, well, come on in. Let me show you that I ain't.
Okay. Well, you mentioned Up and Away. Now, you did a cover of the Mamas and the Papas song, Go Where You Want to Go, and it's pretty close to what they do. I personally like your version better, but
Johnny Rivers knew Mamas and Papas. And he was looking for songs for us to do this. Let's go where you want to go. It could be a cover song for you guys. We said, oh, shoot, we didn't know nothing about it. We thought all that was white music, because we still in the rock and roll and rhythm and blues, era. So Johnny Rivers brought the Mamas and Papas into the studio to help us do it.
Oh.
John Phillips is his name, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mom and Mamas and Papas, what was her name?
Mama Cass and Michelle Phillips.
Right. Mama Cass and John Phillips came and helped us in the studio, say, yeah, do this and do that. And they were helping them, nice little young black group. They were helping, and we got to be bigger than them. We didn't see them no more.
Well.
But that's how that. And then when we did that, we did Up and Away at the same time, and they released Go Where You Want to Go. And the Johnny Mann singers who on our same label heard Up and Away, and they jumped on it. And we said, man, wait a minute, that's our next song. And it's stronger than Go Where You Want to Go. So we dropped that, and we did it, and we're both on the charts at the same time by the same record company, which is very odd. But ours won out. They asked for more airplay, so, and fortunately that it did, and you never look back.
If it had been a few years before that, their version may have been the one that came out, and you guys, may have disappeared.
And in the background, right? Who knows? We weren't going to disappear because the group was really good. We just had to find the right material. And when we came across, I'll tell you the story about Aquarius too. We probably know it, most of it, but. Aquarius and Up and Away were both songs of the year. We were the first black group to ever have 2 songs of the year.
Oh, okay. Well, now Aquarius is one of my favorite songs anyway. And being an Aquarian, that just kind of, I guess, adds to it.
Sure.
But,
know the story about Aquarius?
Not that I know of. Now, I may have heard it and just forgot it.
Right. Oh, it's a great story because we were performing in the Americana in New York, and Billy lost his wallet in the cab. He said, oh, man, and somebody called up and said, hey, man, I found your wallet in this cab, and I'm bringing it to you. He said, what is my license, all that? He said, everything is it. And my money? He said, yeah, your money's in it, too. I said, damn, in New York, somebody returned your wallet with the money and everything in it. So he came to our show. We invited him. Billy invited him to the show at the Americana. And after the show, he said, well, you know what? I got a little show off Broadway I'd like to invite you guys to. So, okay, we went, and the show was called Hair.
Uh-huh.
And we said, man, this Aquarius, we would like to do that. Sure, man. So to show you how honesty pays, he found Billy's $200, $300, whatever it was, and returned it. And in turn, when we did Aquarius, took him off Broadway to on Broadway, and now he made $200 million.
Oh.
Just for being honest.
You mentioned Bones Howe and Smokey and all that. You've recorded a lot of songs by a lot of famous writers. Jimmy Webb, did Up and Away, and Laura Nero, Ashford and Simpson, Neil Sedaka,
Burt
Bacharach, yeah, Hal David, yeah.
Well, when we got to be the fifth dimension, we got boxes of music from everybody.
Yeah. And as far as, I guess what they call pop music goes, I don't know. I guess you kind of went against the grain when you look at a lot of the other music that was out at that time in the, mid to late 60s. I read where your style was called champagne soul. That's a term I had not heard before.
Yeah, that's what they call us. That's the name we really cherish. We love champagne soul because it wasn't rock and roll. It was a little class above it.
Sounds like the name of a Fifth Dimension tribute group or something.
Right. There's something about tribute groups, got a lot of imposters and impersonators and all, the drifters, the platters, and all of them, but you never hear about nobody duplicating the Fifth Dimension because our music was really very complicated. And you're just not going to go in singing no oohs and ahs. So we spent hours and hours and hours working and rehearsing.
You were on a lot of TV shows, and back then, they don't have stuff like this anymore, but, Frank Sinatra had a special, Woody Allen had a special, I remember an episode of It Takes a Thief that you guys were on that I saw when I was a kid, and then, of course, you were on multiple times on Ed Sullivan, and, of course, you had American Bandstand and, Soul Train and that kind of thing. But
yeah, we did them all, man. And we were very different from most people. When they had Woodstock, they had another thing like Woodstock with the heavy metal groups in San Francisco with the hippie operate, when the hippie thing was very big. Mm-hmm. And they booked us on the same show. I said, man, we really out of place as heavy metal with the Doors and Jefferson Airplane and all of them. And so, hey, well, we got the job, so let's go do it. And they all thought that Up and Away was about drugs.
Yeah, I've heard that before, too.
Yeah, and and with all the heavy metal stuff, when we started singing Up and Away in our style, it was so smooth and soothing. They just sit back and smoke, man, and we were the only ones that got a standing ovation with all the famous groups.
Wow. Was that the Monterey Pop Festival?
No, that was San Francisco.
Monterey. Okay, San Francisco. Yeah, okay. Had a brain freeze there. Monterey. Yeah. Well, now, okay, moving up to 1975, you're faced with some more replacements that you got to make. Billy Davis Jr. and Marilyn McCoo decide to leave, go do duo and solo things. I think they'd married back in 69.
There was no arguments, no nothing like most groups break up or stuff, So we actually had a 10th anniversary meeting at the Riviera, and we just talking to each other and said, hey, man, It's been 10 great years. We ain't got to be no millionaires yet, and we're going to move on. And Marilyn and Billy said, you know what? We never really want to be in a group, and a group is kind of confining. And since you all are successful and all, we just want to go on our own and try something different. And we'll stay with you till we find replacements for you. So no argument. It was amicable. So it was really great. So, and we are still friends to this day.
Now, I heard the story that the song Wedding Bell Blues was recorded kind of as a nudge by Marilyn for Billy to go ahead and commit already.
Right. Bowl brought the song to him. Said, will you marry me, Bill? Bill said, I don't know about that song. So, yeah, I want to do it. So that's how that came about. It's just a joke, more or less, and it worked.
Yeah. It's funny how those jokes work out like that.
Yeah.
All right. Now, after they left, you had several members kind of come and go as the years went by. You had a version of Love Hangover that I think came out the same day that Diana Ross's version came out, and of course hers is a disco song, kind of a departure from what she had done. What was the style that was yours pretty much the same style as Fifth Dimension, or? Well,
let me tell you this. It's basically very similar, even though I think ours was better. But we put out a song, and we were looking for a song for the next one. I've always wanted to do a dance tune, so he said, okay. And I brought him Love Hangover. I said, man, we could do this. And it's on Diana Ross's album, and she released another song. She didn't put it out, so it's public domain when that happened. So we went in and did it. And then Diana Ross's conductor, who Gil Stapp, I knew very well, he called me up from London. He said, man, look here, you all put out Love Hangover, and Diana Ross just heard it. He just called me when the subject came up. And she said, oh, man, I told Barry that's the song we should release, and I'm glad he released it. He said, and she listened to it, she said, wait a minute, that ain't my freaking song. And she called Barry and said, man, whatever you do, stop that song and all. Man, we had paid a disc jockey, man, undercover to really push it and all. And then when Barry got involved and Diana Ross said, you got to put my version out, they put their version out, and we had on Billboard a full-page ad of Love Hangover, and look right adjacent to it was another full-page ad with her version. Then we found out they quit playing ours, and we asked the disc jockey what happened. He said, man, Barry Gordy came and he paid a little more money under the table, and he gave all the distributors 3 copies free just to bring yours down. And so that's why we had to take ours off.
So you just stopped with yours then?
Yep.
Oh,
they were going on up the charts, and ours was just hanging in limbo then.
Oh, okay. All right. I guess stuff like that could... I don't know. I guess it's part of the business, but it seems like stuff like that could really cause some real friction with folks.
But we would. Diana Ross was in New York afterwards. Me and Florence was invited. We went, and from the stage, she said, "Uh-oh, here come the enemy," and we all just laughed. I mean, we took it a grain of salt, so moved on.
Well, now you mentioned that you left the group. And I think that was around, about 10 years ago, I guess.
About 6 years at least.
6, okay, all right. And, I was wondering what the reason was. And, of course, you've already told me what it was, but you've done several other things besides singing. And you mentioned the photography, for instance. You met Marilyn on a photo shoot, I believe.
I met Marilyn, she was one of my models, but she was in this black beauty pageant, and she won the talent part. That's when I even knew that she could sing. Because she and I were kind of just dating on the side a little bit back then, and we were friends and together. And then the next year, the same black beauty pageant, Florence was in it, and she won the talent part. That's where I found her. She was modeling for me too.
Oh, okay.
So I asked her to join the group, and with Marilyn and Ron and Billy.
Okay. All right. I kind of had a crush on Marilyn there for a long time ago too, myself.
People still do.
Me and a lot of folks.
I play softball still, man. Even my bad back at all, man. I play 100 games a year. All the ball players and all know who I am, and all the half of them come and said, "But you know what, man? I was in love with Marilyn, and a couple of them love Florence, and so They still have crushes on it.
Yeah. Now the group still performs. Florence is kind of the front person nowadays.
Yeah, right. You get a chance to go see them, man. The Florence don't, and the group, they don't rest on their laurels, man. They, just take some groups, the older groups, just do the hits and halfway do them and all. Florence and the group, they still take voice lessons and all, and the group is very good, and they still getting standing ovations. And Merle and Billy as a duet, it's fabulous. So if you see either group, please go. You won't be disappointed.
Well, you wrote an autobiographical memoir last year called From Hobo Flats to the Fifth Dimension, A Life Fulfilled in Baseball, Photography, and Music. Now, we've mentioned the photography and music. Where does the baseball fit in with all that?
Well, that's funny because that's all I ever really wanted to do was play ball, getting out of the ghetto, be a boxer, singer, whatever, baseball or sports figure. And in the service, in the Navy, I played special services ball, in the summer, and for the Navy. And I ended up playing against the Dodgers, and they liked me, and they signed me to a AAA league. Double A league. And I went out celebrating, man, and broke my arm. Oh, man, I could not believe it. But then I went still played for 3 years, but I switched to first base. Because my arm was just too weak after, not major league strength after I broke it. So, and at first base, as a pitcher, you never really learn how to hit, learn how to bunt. And then I was bunting an average of 300, and they knew I was going to bunt, and scouts were coming to see me, say, watch this guy. We know he's going to bunt, but he bunts and straddles the ball, bunts over the head if they come in. And it was fun, but after 3 years, and I started the Fifth Dimension, and that kind of took over.
Oh, okay. That sounds like a TV movie. They did one about the Temptations,
Right. Well, we're talking about a Broadway play.
Okay.
And everybody got so much controversy that there's something to write about. Fifth Dimension never had no controversy.
Yeah.
Except now that we found a way to do it about a black group with a white sound. How can you have a white sound? Ain't no color to the sound. That's just what we did,
Uh-huh.
And then that could be the catalyst of doing a play, because we won a lot of plays at Valparaiso, the college, and we were getting off the bus. The black people were picketing and said, well, we want a black group. And so we got off and said, we've been bringing all these white groups in, like mamas and papas and stuff, and then they bring you guys in, supposed to pacify you, but y'all didn't know rock and roll and rhythm and blues. We want some real, soul. Yeah. I said, well, wait a minute. Y'all picking in us? And have you ever seen us? Or no? I said, well, look, we went and got, I think it was 10 of them, went and got 10 or 12 tickets. Said, hey, we can give you this ticket, come to the show free, and then if you don't like us, then it's okay. At least you see us. But you're doing picking in us, and you never seen us, and that's not right. And then after the show, 2 of them came up crying.
Huh.
Said, man, this is what we need. Something a little different, a little class, and so that's the basis of the play I'm trying to write.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you'll have to let me know whenever it's out there, and we can get back together and talk about it too.
Hey, all right, man. Where you live?
Now I'm in North Alabama.
Just did a great,
about 100 miles north of Birmingham.
Big interview with a guy from Alabama, man. He came to my house, and they turned out to be, I forgot his name. That's been a long time ago, but yep, I have a couple of friends in Alabama.
Oh. Well, if somebody wants to go out and order your book, where can they go online and get it?
Go on Amazon, man. The book is doing great, too. It's got 100 positive reviews. It's go on Amazon.com, put your search in my name.
Okay.
And both, I wrote a joke book, too, and it's doing good. I wrote all the jokes and the funny stuff for the Fifth Dimension on our stage show. And then I knew Richard Pryor and Red Fox, and I wrote a couple of things that Richard Pryor recorded. And so people said, man, when are you going to put out your book? And I always tell people jokes before I hang up, basically. And I wrote down for 40 years, man, just making notes and stuff. So I found it, and I put it together, and the book is called Everybody Loves a Good Dirty Joke.
Oh.
Good is scratched out.
Oh.
It said, if you're easily offended, please do not purchase this book, because it's talking about everybody, including you and your mama.
Oh, uh-oh.
That your mama's so dumb, she put a quarter in each ear and thought she was listening to 50 Cent. It's got 500 jokes in it, and people say, how much it cost? It's $14.95. They said, why you selling it so cheap? I said, because all my friends are cheap.
Well, people are so easily offended these days.
Well, this is if you can find humor in being offensive, then it's great, and it's not nothing that nobody would. Even my mother just turned 102.
Ooh.
And when I had the joke book out, she knew I always told jokes. I said, Mom, I finally got my joke book out. She said, yeah, you got dirty jokes in there? I said, well, yeah, Mom. She said, well, send me a couple of books. She's so funny, got all her wits, about 102 years old. Man.
Did any of these dirty things ever make it into the stage show? Fifth Dimension?
No, this was written after.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, since I've been retired.
Oh, okay.
So people ask me, say, well, you're so active. Retirement, what do you do in your retirement? I said, oh, man, from Monday through Friday, I don't do nothing. And Saturday and Sunday, I rest.
Well, now, you had sent me the song you had written entitled Ceasefire.
Yeah.
Featuring Julio Hansen. He's the singer on it. Who does the voiceover at the beginning and the end?
Me.
Oh, that's you. Okay. I was wondering if that was you.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay.
And the song is getting ready to go viral, man. And, man, everybody, you would not believe, people call you crying. Well, you saw the pictures too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I watched the video.
Oh, okay, good. You can get the song. The CD just came out, too, and it's on CD Baby.
Okay.
It's CD Baby in my name and Ceasefire.
All right. Well, Lamonte McLemore, I appreciate your giving me the time to talk to you. It's been an honor.
And do you ever come to Vegas?
Not yet. That may be one of those things on my bucket list.
You've never been to Vegas?
Not yet.
Oh, man, you're in for a rude awakening.
I bet I am.
It's like living in the middle of Disneyland out here. Keep my number, because for sure, man, I would love to meet you, and we can hang and do whatever, show you around if you ever do come out, if we're in town.
Okay.
And one other thing about my autobiography, the guy that helped write it, Robert Arnold,
mm-hmm. I
want to mention him because he did such a great job on the bio, man, until he's an official autobiographer for the Fifth Dimension. And I couldn't have remembered half of the stuff that he wrote about, man, but he did such a fabulous job. And so if you haven't got the book, man, I advise that you order it, because Amazon, you can get it in 2 days, but it's not just an autobiography, man. It's inspirational, and I tell you, you'd be glad you got it.
All right. Well, I'll look for it then.
Okay, brother. Well, hey, have a good holiday and Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and all that stuff.
All right. Same to you.
Okay, and you don't have to call for an interview. Just call them and say hello anytime, man. So, I don't make friends I don't intend to keep, so now you stuck. All
right. Well, I've got you in my cell phone, so
okay,
I guess
brother.
You're stuck too.
I really look forward to seeing you out here, man. I had about 20 interviews, and maybe 6 or 7 of the interviews came out. And, man, they had a ball out here, so I kind of showed them around when I was in town.
Okay, well, I'll see what I can do on that front.
Hey, all right, man. But I got to tell you a joke before I hang up.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask you to give us one before you leave.
Well, there was this lady went to a clairvoyant, and the clairvoyant, the fortune teller, was looking in the crystal ball, and she said, "Oh, lady, I think I got some bad news for you." She said, "What?" And this crystal ball looked like your husband was getting ready to die a violent death. Lady said, "Oh, man, can you look a little bit deeper and see if I'll be acquitted?" All right, man, I'll leave you alone.
All right. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, baby.
All right, thanks a lot.